Welcome back to another episode of the Twistedtubz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Tubley, aka Twistedtubz. He is Paddy Murphy, aka Paddy Plays. Now, we are going to survive together through this long, crazy conversation that we are about to have. Paddy, how the hell are you doing? And thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
I'm good, Tubbs. I'm surviving. That's the important part.
You like how I tried to spin that all in?
Yeah, fair play. I mean, it says it right here, like, let's survive together.
We should survive together. We've survived together for many a fucking year, you know? Or you can drop it like even, as well, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, even before all this fucking shit that we're going through at the moment, we were surviving together through stuff.
In the ditches, digging some holes, all that crazy shit, you know what I mean?
I wish that was a joke.
Were we not supposed to talk about that, Patrick?
We can talk about whatever you want, Stephen.
Well, okay, if we want to talk about whatever I want, then I get to the first question of the podcast. Now, every time I have a guest on this show, Pat, right, I like to start the show with asking them, Paddy Murphy, what is your origin story? And what I mean by that is not what kind of diapers you wore or what kind of, like, how long it took you to walk. I mean is, what I mean by this question is like, what kind of what was it like growing up? What kind of put you in the direction of gaming, filming, and just podcasting in general? What was the direction that got you or sent you down that lane and got you to where you are right now?
This is cool. Yeah, like as a kid, I was always obsessed with storytelling in all of its forms. Like I was the kid that would sit there with like his copybook for school and just write stories in it, and my mum would be going mad because she'd have to buy a new copybook because that one was filled with stories unrelated to what we were doing in school at all. But yeah, and then as I got older, I got into games because, well, games, movies, media, because they were stories and that I could consume. But then I suppose I was kind of picked on a lot in school and bullied horrendously growing up. And games and movies were a way to kind of like lose myself in another world with people that were my friends. And it's why I always go on about it, but Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game ever because I was just started in new school, had no friends, and I was playing that game, and it was like all those characters felt like my best friends. So there's a real like nostalgia kick for me with that game in particular. But all I knew was that I wanted to tell stories. I tried that as part of a band, like telling stories through music. Then I tried it as a video game developer. Then I went and sold insurance in Malta. Then I came back to Ireland and started making films with people like yourself and Barry and Brian and everyone and all of Celtic Badger. And that's been the most fulfilling thing that I've done. Like, it's weird because everything else in my life feels like it was just like the tutorial to get me to this stage.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. I mean, and I love it. Like the reason the reason I ask it as an origin story is because, you know, everyone has one, you know, and it's just, you know, some are fuller than others, but you know, we all get to the same location regardless. But it's as you were saying about the film stuff, is like, because I know once you got into that, like you dug in deep, like.
Yeah, it's really weird because like I did 3 short films like really close together starting out. And after those 3, I was kind of like not too excited about the prospect of continuing making films. I was kind of like, I think that's it. I think I don't want to do this anymore. And that was, luckily, Brian Clancy came to me with the 3 Don'ts as a concept and was like, I want someone to help write and direct this. And that was the film that really turned me back around to like, oh no, this is what and from there, I think, is where I went absolutely ridiculous fucking hell for letter into it. That was around the time that I started meeting you and Brian O'Regan, and that was the Don'ts was the first set where I met Barry and stuff. So like from there, you find your family, and then all you want to do is work with your families, you know.
And do you know something? I agree completely because look, I mean, I think a similar story was I had done a kind of film work, and I think I had fallen out of it. You know, to like, you know, like just lost passion or you know, life scenarios or whatever it was. And then when I went to see the 3 Don'ts, it blew my mind because I think I remember I told you that like ages after, like that it was just I was sitting there because my sister obviously Bex was involved in the makeup, so I kind of went with her. But then after seeing it, and I didn't know any of you. at that point, and I was just like so enthralled by like, oh my God, this is a fantastic movie. Like it looks like a film, and I just wanted to be involved. And I think I think I sent you a selfie, if you remember, with the books.
With the little booklet. I think I still have that little booklet in a drawer over there, man. One of those like Three Don'ts booklets.
Well, obviously a conversation with you and Bex was the door, but I think that was my little kind of like,
your gateway drug.
Let me into your toy box. Let me play around for a while.
It was quite funny though, because after I met you at the screening, I was working on redrafting the second and third acts of the feature film, and I had approached like one of the other co-creator of the Don'ts. Well, creator of the Don'ts. I came in as just like a writer, but like, and I approached him and was like, I really think this person would be great for this role, and he already had somebody picked. But I kind of pushed. I was like, I really think that Stephen Tubridy would be brilliant, because I just got a great energy off you when we met. And the character was a mad, manic little bulldog or pit bull. So I was like, I think Stephen Tubridy is going to be perfect for this. And I kind of thought, and I was so delighted then that it was coming up to your birthday, and I was like, hey, I got a birthday present for you. You're in the Don'ts.
I remember it, dude, as clear as day, because I remember I got the message and I was like, oh my God, I'm in the Don'ts. Like, I mean, and it's crazy because, do you know what I mean? As I said, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but I'll reiterate it and say it again. It's like when I came in working with you guys, like I had done a feature film, but I, in no way, shape or form did I have the attitude of like, will you give me all these roles because I've done a feature? I was like, oh man, can I just be involved? Can I
be a lamp? I remember you asking if you could just be a light somewhere.
And I think, look, I don't know what the right approach is to filmmaking, man. Do you know what I mean? We've all been doing it. I don't
think anyone does.
I just know how to do it. I know how to be involved, but nobody really knows the real approach. Do you know what I mean? But but my approach at that time was very much a thing of, I just want to be involved. I just want to be part of the story and the journey that's been talked about. Which, getting back to you, because this is your interview, that's what I mean about journeys, because your journey has been a fruitful one and a very, very full, very, very full package, if you will.
It's weird.
Short space of time. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's weird, yeah, because like I think most creative people have this thing of suffering with like imposter syndrome, or not feeling like you're good enough, or not feeling like, and it's only when I sit myself down sometimes I kind of look myself in the eye and I'm like, you have started a video game company, you have done that, you have been in a band and released albums and toured, you have been a games journalist and you've written reviews for big websites, and I'm like, I have to almost talk myself into like understanding that like I've done a lot with the 37 years that I've been graced with so far. And I've been trying to spread that message actually, now that I've moved to like working on Twitch and being involved in the Twitch community with other Twitch streamers, many of whom are a lot younger than I am. I do kind of try to spread that message to them of like, just don't be afraid to try shit while you're young, like, because fit as much as you can in as quickly as you can, because we all have no idea what's around the corner. Like,
I completely agree 100%, man. And I think, because obviously we both have kids, so, obviously we're trying to,
juggle it.
that job as well and try and do that correctly. And it's just, and I think it's like we want.
Again, like filmmaking, there's no correct way to do that.
Exactly. So it is like having kids, It's like, I just have to produce it, hope it does well, in that sense.
No, exactly. It's mad though. It's wild. Like, for the longest time, I even struggled with calling myself a director. If I met people and they were like, what do you do? I would never say, I think I kind of play it off as like I like to make movies with my friends, and because in my head I was like, I'm not a director. Like, a director is like a real person that does real things. And it was, when I met Joe Lynch and I said, I'm an amateur filmmaker. And he was like, have you made a film? And I was like, yeah. He was like, well, then you're not an amateur filmmaker, you're a filmmaker.
I agree.
I was like, shit, whoa.
The only problem with that now, Pat, is that you can't say that anymore. Like, you've actually lost the right to say I'm not a director, because you've been too far into it now.
And like, Google now tells me I'm a director, which fucking blew my mind, man.
you want to know a story? I'll tell you a little story, all right?
We're taking a trip here, trip down memory lane. Let's do this.
No, it's not. It's about you. About when you type your name into Google, right? I've done a lot of movies at this point, right? But when I type my name into Google, first Stephen Tuberty that comes up is a surgeon in Florida. Okay. Right. When my brother Jonathan types his name into Google,
Legacy Point
that comes up is actor in Legacy Point. And I'm like, motherfucker.
That's fucking incredible. I'm surprised with how many fucking Paddy Murphys there are in the world that I'm ranking that high. I think it's just because I put so much shit out there. Is what it is. That it's just like, well, I guess we have to rank this guy. He never stops making shit.
Do you know something? I do, all jokes aside though, I do think that is the reason. Because you look at it, your name is attached to the gaming industry, it's the film industry, as you said, music, and it's now attached to the YouTube and Twitch. So there's a lot of avenues feeding your name out there. That can only be a good thing, man. You know?
Well, like, if it helps, like, the way I always look at any of this stuff is that if it helps me, and this has been totally genuine, it sounds like a pure, pompous, pretentious, bullshitty statement, but it's genuinely not, because you know me, and that's not me. But like, why I do any of this stuff, the films, yes, it's to tell stories, but also it's just genuinely to make connections and meet like-minded people and talk about our passions. And like, even what we're doing right now, this is what I live for. This is legitimately what I live for, is talking to people about the things that we all love. Like, I love that so much.
I will say one thing, right? I don't think you will come off pretentious there at all, because you said the word genuinely in the most Limerick accent ever. So not a problem there, kid.
I know, yeah. I'm from Clare. I swear to God, I'm from Clare.
He's all right. He's from my ass. He lives down the road from me.
But, the amount of people that have asked on my streams, like, where are you from? And I'm like, Clare. And then they're like, oh, like, if they're from Ireland, they're like, you don't sound like you have a Clare accent. You sound like you're from Limerick. I'm like, yeah, that's what 20 plus years in Limerick will do to you.
Exactly. You've been around the mold a bit for a long time, you know, so kind of in. But as we're talking about films and stuff, just walk me through it. Like, I mean, because as you said, as you came in and you made the 3 films, you didn't really kind of feel like you wanted to go that direction. Then the Don't up, and then it kind of invigorated your whole kind of like idea of where to go with it. But then you started in, like, you were doing Retribution, and then it became Celtic Badger Media, and then a whole ton of movies like processed out of that. So what was that journey like for you personally, like from going from like the first 3 Don'ts inwards to now as a whole?
It was crazy, because basically, like, we did the Don't short film, and then September that showed, and literally right after that we did the Cheese Box, we did Retribution, we did Framed in January, we did Ghost was the next year, we did Cuppa, me and Barry came up with this wild idea at the time that, like, looking back on it, we both say was the fucking craziest thing we've ever done, which is we said, let's try and produce a full short film every month for a year and release it on the Celtic Badger Media YouTube with a behind the scenes, a blooper reel, like everything. And the thing is, while it was crazy and wild, the thing is, it wasn't just me and it wasn't just Barry. It was you, it was Brian O'Regan. Like, we weren't the only creative forces in it, and that was what made it seem possible. Was like, okay, well, we don't have to write everything. We don't have to, as long as we're producing it, like helping to bring it to life, helping to get it made, then like it's a Celtic Badger Media production, and we can do that. It was crazy, and we killed ourselves doing it for 10 months. We didn't make it through the year. We did it for 10 months, but it was also the best fucking film school anybody could ever go to. Like, we learned so much, man, through that whole process. And then at the same time, we were still doing the Don'ts on top of that. In the background, we were doing the feature every odd weekend that we weren't shooting something else. It was like, all right, let's go out and get another chunk of the Don'ts done.
I think that is the only way you can do it when you're working independently, when you're working for yourselves and trying to get that that product out. It's the only way you can do it. Is to take advantage of the the free weekends and the little holes that pop up here and there. But looking back at it, man, like, Yeah, and you know what you were saying is like we didn't get the full year. 10 months of solid short
10
films
short films.
on
And
a
they're all,
catalog.
in my opinion, really good.
Oh, come here. Let me look. You know yourself. It's all opinion based in general. Some people, have we lost Paddy? Have we lost me? I'm just going to do this for 2 seconds because I don't know.
I'll freeze. Tubbsington.
Yes?
Oh, wait, there, you're back.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you can pick back up from what you were just saying there about, like, it's all subjective.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying there a minute ago, it's all opinion based and subjective on whether people are going to like your stuff or hate it. But at the end of the day, nobody can ever take away from the amount of work that now sits there within that entire YouTube channel. You know what I mean?
And some of it came from the craziest of places. Like when you think about it, because like we were on set for Aaron Walsh's Rewind, and you were talking about how once you hit a certain amount of films, I think it was 20 at the time, it would be your legacy point. And you just said it. You didn't even remember saying it. It was such a flippant throwaway thing that you said. And I was just like, film legacy point, love it, gotta go, gotta make that. And just went off and wrote this short and was like, look, this is basically like a short I've written for you for your 20th movie and stuff. And like that just came out of just standing around fucking eating Pringles while we're waiting on a film set. Yeah. And that's the energy that went into that 10 months. It was like anything could happen at any point, you know. It was probably some of the best creative times of my life for sure.
Oh, same, 100%. I mean, obviously, Joe, we have done like the features and we've moved into like the bigger projects over time. But no, but that year, it was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that was 2016 into 2017, right?
Yeah, you're spot on.
And collectively, man, and because Facebook always seems to tell me 2016 was one of your best years, buddy, because it's not about memories of film stuff. And it was just, but as I said, that's a year nobody, regardless of how far you go with it, or if you just dropped it in the morning and decided not to do no more, that's a year plus that nobody can ever take away. It's there,
and a year of incredible memories, like when you go looking at the BTS or you go just looking at behind the scenes photos or whatever, you can just reminisce. It'll just be pulled back into like, I can look at pictures from Passenger Zero and remember how sticky the fake blood was on my face, or I can look at it's literally like all that stuff is almost like a little fucking time machine that can bring you back to a very specific moment and how you were feeling and how you know. And look, not all of those feelings can be positive. Sometimes you look at it and you go, God, I remember how fucking horrible that was. But again, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's just so cool that these things can literally remind you instantly of a specific time. Like it's an awesome feeling.
And just going back to what you said there about you were saying with the don'ts, and you sent remember you sent me the text message about being in the don'ts for on my birthday. I also remember that this year birthday gone, you sent me a chunk of BTS photographs from Legacy Point.
Yes, and, I did.
You know what I mean? And instantly, like, I was going, this is amazing because I've never seen these photographs. And instantly, as you said a second ago about Joe bringing up memories and just taking you back, it just slid me back into that entire process, looking through those photos, because as you know, that film is always going to hold like a special,
of course,
place to me because of where it came from and who it came from, you know.
I just love that film. Same, it has a very special place because it was this kind of like it's that thing of like, it's sometimes nice to do something that's not just for you. Like Legacy Point was not just for me. It was like, okay, this is like Retribution was for me. Like that's the way I feel about it. I look at it, and if other people enjoy it, awesome. But like when I made Retribution, the only person I cared about liking it when I was making it was me. I was like, I don't give a fuck if everybody else in the world hates this movie. If I can sit down and watch it and be like, oh yes, this was everything I hoped it would be, I'll have succeeded. Whereas with something like Legacy Point, what I like is it's nice sometimes to be like, I want to make this movie for a specific person. Like it was the same with Ghosts. Ghosts was I intended it for a very specific audience, and then when they saw it and said how much it meant to them, that was great. It was like, oh, it's almost, God, it sounds really wanky to say this, but it's almost a little bit like last year I did a charity stream, and it's that feeling of when you do something for somebody else and like it doesn't benefit you at all, but like you do get a selfish kick to some degree out of like the warm fuzzy feeling that you feel for doing it. You know what I mean?
I can totally agree with that, because as you know, I try to do like anniversary tribute videos and things like that.
Yes.
As much as I can, and
Which
I
are always
like you,
amazing.
I know, but I mean, but like you, Pad, it's very much that thing is it's made for people to remember that person. But
Yeah.
you know, and it's for me 100%, but it's not for me in the long run either,
Yeah.
because I needed to. If everyone's okay with it, and if it lands where it needs to land, and people are happy with it, then I've done my job. And I agree with you completely, because I know, going back to Ghosts for a second, I know Ghosts was a very, you know, it was a special one for you. You did want to knock that out, and you did, because it was a fantastic movie.
So funny story about Ghosts. Well, I know it's like a big, sad, depressing short, but I was on stream at the time of recording of this. I was on stream last weekend, and I decided to drink a whole bottle of Captain Morgan on stream, which was a great idea. Absolutely fantastic. And then a friend of mine, Megan O'Halloran from town, from Limerick, she came on, and she knew Chris, who Ghost was about as well. And I was langers off of 3/4 of a bottle of Captain Morgan, watching Ghosts, just a big emotional mess. And Mishka was like, "Stop, I'm crying, please stop, please stop." And then like literally she came into chat on Tuesday and was like, "You fucking bastard." I was so sad on Sunday. I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't even remember." I was so drunk. But then I watched VOD back and I was like, "But that's still so cool," because she was like, "I'm actually only joking," because it was awesome to think back and remember Chris and have that experience. So again, that's why you do these things, so that you can look back at them in your drunkest moments or whatever and be like, "Oh, this is," as we said, it's like, this is a memory I'm feeling, and it brings me back to a certain time and place. And that's what I'm all about. Like, that's why I love telling stories, is because they're literally time machines. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it is, man. It is. And look, as I said, I just wanted to bring that up because I know, you know, as you were saying about having certain movies, and as I said about Legacy Point, kind of having meaning to me for reasons, and that's why. But,
oh
and other
yeah, like,
movies, no, go on.
oh no, sorry, it's just because like even this movie here, which is behind me, The Perished, like that is, as much as it's a movie that I was like, I want to make this movie and I'll do anything to get this movie made, it's not a movie for me. It's a movie for the women of Ireland, is the way I saw it when I was making it. I was like, I don't give a shit if some asshole in the States doesn't like it, some lad, you know, who's against it. And having the experience of having Irish women come up to me and be like, that movie resonated with me so much and it was so affecting. That's again the only reason I wanted to make it. So like, again, even when you do a bigger project, there's still a thing of kind of like, yeah, I don't care if I don't even necessarily, well, I do love it, but if I didn't, it wouldn't matter, because it's not for me, it's for somebody else, it's for a different audience.
No, I totally get it. I do. And then can I just clear one thing up about The Perished?
Yeah.
Paddy Murphy did not hire a dwarf for that movie. I am of average height, people, all right? I say it soundly.
I'll never forget that fucking guy on YouTube going off.
Oh,
what the fuck? Who's shitting his cornflakes, man?
I'm joking, obviously, but it is funny. But
what we need to share here is that we actually hired two dwarves and got one to stand on the other shoulders.
I showed up on set and he was like, "We've got something better. You can fuck off home."
No, but yeah, like, I mean, even with that shoot, like, that was, again, it was almost like I think of that shoot the same way I think of the 10 months of making shorts, because it felt like that. It felt like the same amount of time, and it felt like the same burst of creative energy, but it was for one thing rather than a bunch of things. But it was just spread out over a long period of time. But yeah, it was the same feeling where like so much work went into that. But like, again, I can look back on that whole time spent making that movie as a positive. Like, there's not one moment of it where I'm like, oh, that could have been better, or I wish we had done this, or I'm just like, nah, I fucking loved it. I was hanging out with my friends doing cool shit. That's all I want.
I mean, the content was heavy.
Oh yeah.
I think. I mean, and as look, I mean, you could see it with everyone. I mean, and you like, I mean, with Courtney and everything. I mean, the game was stepped up, and everyone kind of came to play. You know, I know for a fact, I mean, because I think I said this recently, that regarding the perished, I found that because on set, look, you've worked with me enough to know that I have an energy and a bounciness, and it's not because I
Energy.
you say motherfucker. No, but
A beautiful manic energy.
manic. It is. It's fucking manic. No, but you know what I mean. And I have had that. But I mean, look. That's let's let it's because of fucking ADHD and I can't control it half the time. But it comes with me wherever I go. But I found on the perished, I think it was because of how different that character and that role was. I think I came with a different energy on that movie, and again on a movie afterwards, which I won't mention because it hasn't gone out into the world yet.
You're fine to talk about it. There's no, I mean, we're going to be getting it. It's going to be coming out this year, so we're fine to talk about it.
Okay, so but like on that one in general, I found I came with a very different energy to that, and I just thought, because obviously I've been, you know, in 2020 and everything else, and kind of sitting around kind of like overthinking or whatever the fuck, and you know, but and then I started to realize, I was like, oh, I've changed in my direction. My direction isn't as bouncy as it. Now, that's not to say it's a bad thing. I'm still bouncy, man. Guaranteed, when the doors get opened up and the shackles get taken off of the world that we're in right now, I will bounce right up to your face and hug your head. You know,
you're literally Tigger, like.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I literally pass me as live action Tigger, people, because that's what I am. You know. But you know, and I noticed that by the time we came into the ending of the last one. I was like, oh man, and the reason I say that is because it took longer for that to leave me, not the character, but the feeling of, that was different. I don't think I've had that before. And
well, like I definitely feel like the film that Tubbs is talking about is called In Memoriam, and it's an experimental found footage feature film that we shot in a really, I'm not even going to say how long, but in a really short space of time. It's a full 75-minute feature film. It stars basically Tubbs and Aoife Mead, and pretty like there's two other people in it, but like for like 5 seconds, it's Tubbs and Aoife's movie, and it was a totally experimental idea of, we have all the beats, but we don't have specific dialogue written out, and we're going to go and try and make this thing. And I think there was a lot of naysaying at the start, like, oh well, because it was such a wild experimental concept. I think a lot of people involved were like, I don't fucking understand what we're doing. What is this? Is this even going to work? This sounds kind of ludicrous. And then my favorite thing was afterwards, people were like, holy fuck, we did that. We actually did a crazy thing that is like, who would even try that? And yeah, like Tubbs, you definitely brought, like, you understood the gravity, I think, going into that one, that it was you and Aoife, it was just the two of you, you were going to be on screen the whole time. And I think every day you came to set on that film, you came with the idea of, holy shit, I can't lose focus of the character of what I'm doing. I'm going to zero in, laser focus. And even there was times on that shoot where normally if someone cracks a joke or something, you're the first to pounce on and get involved, where you would like just like not like, you just like move yourself from the situation because you're like, I don't want to come out of where I'm at because I need to be this way for the film, it was so cool to see that. Like, you, again, that film wouldn't have worked if you had come into it with the same mentality that maybe you did in some of the shorts and stuff. So it was awesome.
And I mean, and look, thank you for that, because I mean, it genuinely, I know the process that I had gone in, but I don't think I realized the weight of it until we had finished. But this goes back to like The World As I See It. I'm going to drop this on you, because on The World As I See It, last minute, I had to step into the lead role.
Yep.
And I was directing it as well. But that film turned out fantastic. But that film turned out fantastic.
It is. It's so good.
Not because I was directing it. It was because I had Baz on camera and he knew exactly what he was doing. I had you doing 3,000 jobs and pulling fucking left and right. And I say that 100% because it's the truth. If not for you keeping me on track and you know, like just helping in the background continuously through that shot, we wouldn't have got the level. Because I don't think I would have been as focused as I was in the Travis Kane character to get the performance that I needed to get on screen if you hadn't been pulling the reins behind screen. You know
well, like I think that's the job of any assistant director that's doing their job well. Like when I think of the work Marie Hourigan did on The Perished, it was the same. Like, or even Baz and Vashon as producers on The Perished, they really took the weight off me so that I didn't have to worry about a million other things. I could focus on like directing performances, which is what I love doing. But then, so like I knew in that situation that you couldn't worry about 5 million things because you were in character. And you were kind of, you know, you had to stay in character. And I, like you, I think that film turned out phenomenally. I've had many people say that that's one of our best Celtic Badger media shorts, and I fully agree with them. Like, I think it's so good, and it's because again, there was a kind of honesty that you came to that film with, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and it is, and I think if you remember down, and it is, I mean, I was only trying to think of the timeline, with The World as I See It. Was The Perished after that?
It would have been, yeah.
You know, I mean, I know Passenger Zero and The World as I See It kind of like were I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember off the top of my head.
They were released a month apart, but I can't remember. Like, as in, The World as I See It was released in March, and then Passenger Zero was released in April. Right, but so I can't remember when they shot.
It was shot before, wasn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
Now we don't know.
No, it couldn't have been. It couldn't have been actually, because The World as I See It was the first movie we shot with the Lomo Anamorphics. So we shot that in January of 2017. Yeah,
that is correctly right. Look at him. See, I was kind of going, what? See, what
this old 37-year brain still works sometimes.
Did I freeze on a weird ass face?
Yeah, you did. It was glorious.
No, I'll leave that in.
Nice. No, I was going to say, can I run for a quick bathroom break? And just edit it out.
I'll actually pause the recording.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a way better idea.
I'll go 1.
I'll be back in 2.
2.
Don't leave this in though.
Okay, so yeah, we were talking about movies and such, but now that we've as I said, we've bantered on about the movies and things. Banter.
Banter
on the Celtic Badger Media
YouTube channel. Yeah.
And speaking of YouTube, I would be remiss to talk about this because of where you are currently. Right? And that is the YouTube and Twitch bubble. Now, so can you run me through? Like, I know, because I'm your friend, I know kind of what you've been up to and stuff, but I'd like to get like a deeper kind of conversation with you about it. Like, you find out what your process was and just kind of the direction of it, and you know yourself, do you know what I mean? And what led to Twitch and how that's going, and further, if you will.
Definitely. Like, I love talking about this stuff because the way to start this is that, like, for ages we have a close friend that we've worked on films with and stuff. I used to hang out with her every year at Fright Fest, Samantha Elliott Brody, and she's been forever on at me that, like, she's like, you should do a YouTube channel, you should stream. And I was like, who the fuck wants to watch me play video games? Like, I don't even want to watch me play video games. Go out. And I didn't understand streaming as well. I didn't understand, because I wasn't into it. I never did it. I never watched it. I was like, what is this? Who cares about this? It's amazing how a year can change you, man. But I started lockdown in Ireland in March of last year. I mean, literally, I was supposed to be in Los Angeles for the Perished premiere, and I was supposed to be doing all this stuff, and then they were just like, nah, you're staying at home. So I was like, I need to do something or I'm going to go fucking bananas. And I didn't feel like writing. I didn't feel like those kind of creative avenues were like, I'm not going to say dried up, but I was like, well, what's the point if I don't even know when I'm going to be able to film shit? Like, what's the point of even writing stuff? And so then I just decided, you know what, I'll give this YouTube thing a go. I'll try it and see how it goes and if I enjoy it or whatever. And started it in April of 2020. Just started putting out news and reviews and Let's Plays and enjoyed it. And then got the interviews started, and the interviews were where, like, it went from like, oh, this is a fun little thing that I'm doing, to like, oh shit, there's people that actually want to watch this stuff. And yeah, so like, in July 2020, I decided, feck it, I'll give this streaming thing a go as well. And I jumped onto Twitch. And I have to say that has been one of the biggest changes of my life through lockdown. Is I've gone from somebody who didn't understand Twitch, had no desire to. Now I don't watch TV anymore. I don't watch movies anymore. I watch Twitch. I watch streamers. I watch Friends. As I see it, I watch Friends. And I finally understand now that I was getting it wrong. Nobody goes on Twitch to watch people play games. That's the misconception. You go on Twitch to watch people that you enjoy, and the games are a secondary thing. But yeah, I've loved it. I've loved it all so much. Getting to connect with people in the time where we're all at fucking home.
I know, and I love it because I mean, I've actually, I'm going to tell you right now in this interview, I've actually talked about this on a past interview, that when you and Brian O'Regan were like killing it with the content last year, I mean, there was a little bit of me that was jealous, not because you were doing content, because I was there going, my mental case brain won't let me do nothing. And and I'm looking at the guys and they're creating such good things. And I was so proud to see, like, even like yourself and Brian in a collective year, both past the 500 subscriber mark. It was such a great thing to see both of you do it, man. Because you know yourself, it's not an easy feat to do. It isn't like some people just take off and they blow, but when you are grinding and you're working through it, it's to get it. But to see the creative content that like more so like yourself. I mean, I know your channels are very different, but with the gaming thing, because I know, as you even stated in your origin story, gaming is the origin story for Paddy Murphy. That's where it began, right? It is.
Like definitely.
For me personally, as your mate, to see it go from like when you, because your love of gaming in the beginning, and you know, all the way through to making games, and then to come full circle and then be on Twitch, just enjoying it. You know what I mean? Just enjoying it, man. And that's a great thing for a friend to see. Just to see you do that and just kind of really enjoying yourself. And because that's what it's about, man. And it's all about being happy at the end of the day. Like, and you can find, you know.
I had something said to me today. I was watching a friend streaming, and I think it was my friend Handelf. She's another Irish streamer above in Northern Ireland, Hannah. And she said, and it was so true, she was like, the days that I've wanted to stream the least, like I've been like exhausted and I don't want to, I'm looking at the go live button and I'm like, oh Christ. Those are the days you have to stream, because when you finish up, you'll be like, oh, that was so much fun. I had such a great time and I met so many new people and that was awesome. And it's so, that sums up the experience of what it's like streaming on Twitch for me, is like, it's literally like a dopamine kick, like of just getting me like out of a funk even. And it's like you say, that's why I watch streamers, is because like if I was watching somebody and they were fucking miserable, I probably wouldn't watch them, just being honest.
No, of course. I mean, if someone seems like, I mean, you see it all the time, and it's this like our kids' generation, and they're sitting there and they're watching other people play games and things. And for the longest time, I'm not even going to lie, I was always going, why are they doing that? Like, why don't they just pick up the controller and play it? But then I find when you're on a set, or if you put out a YouTube video, I'm watching it. I'm now in the bubble of the kids, but it's not because, you know, I'm like being hypocritical about it. It's because you've now found a friend that's doing it.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's it. That's as I say,
closer to you.
Oh, as I say, I was the exact same. Like, I had no love for the platform at all, and now I'm kind of like regretting all the years of cool twitching I could have been doing before. Yeah. But like, as I said to Hannah on that stream earlier, I said this to you about our friendship, but I said it to Hannah today about Twitch. I said it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, you only find a piece when you need it, and that was what Twitch was in 2020 for a lot of people, was that missing jigsaw puzzle of, oh fuck, I need to speak to another human being and like watch somebody else have fun. And Twitch really brought that for a lot of people, or gave people an outlet to do that.
Oh, go on.
No, that's it.
No, but as on your point there, that you were saying there about like you were like missing people and things, and I remember even saying it to my younger brother Jonathan, that like I promised myself at the end of last year that I would not sit under this one. Like, we went back into lockdown and whatever, I said I would not sit under it. I promised myself I wouldn't do it. But the main reason is, you know yourself, I love to talk. It's no secret. That's
not true. He hates talking.
This is
killing. He hates it so much.
killing me. But they do. I'm a talker. I always have been. But the main reason why
he shifted the face after Blarney's done. He absolutely shifted it. Do you know it gives you the gift of the gab? He shifted it rather than just give it a smooch.
My silence is that there's truth in that. But no, it was because I missed people do it. That was my biggest thing.
Same, yeah.
This has been, as you said, about just going on and just feeling, like it gives you that big hit, and I can totally understand that, because I've had days where I didn't want to record, but then I did them. I went down and said I'll do them. I go on and record. And when I finished talking to like people like yourself or just guests in general, it's like I come off the thing and I'm kind of going, I feel great now. I actually feel fantastic that I did that. So I see that it's been doing that for you too.
One thing I find really interesting, and this definitely comes down to, I think, like, again, do you know what I was saying about like imposter syndrome and not, as creatives, not knowing our accomplishments or our achievements? I look at like you are forever saying, like, I said under 2020, I didn't do anything, I didn't blah. And I look at 2020 and I go, you did 30 fucking weeks of retro wrestle chats that I watched the majority of. And I know what you mean. You feel like you feel like, yeah, but I didn't do them. That's Brian's content. I just was on it. But like, again, you were still there. You were still being part of it, even if you didn't feel like you, like, well, even if you didn't feel like those accomplishments were yours, you still did something. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Brian, I'm sorry that you're going to hear me say this, but like, I watched Retro Wrestling Chats for you majoritively, because I loved for a long time the dynamic that was there, where you were so positive, and it almost felt like you were up against this wall of like, everyone, Brian's going to come in and he's going to be middle ground. Rich is going to come in and he's going to be negative, and you're going to come in and you're going to be like the fucking wall of positivity. And it was just a great format. So like, so that's, again, I spent, if there's 30 episodes, I spent 30, or more than 30 episodes, but I spent 30 hours last year watching you having to defend stuff.
Mainly HBK. but you're right, because I mean, that's what I mean about when you do think like that, when you're like, oh, I didn't do anything last year, or I was set under it all. And Brian, genuinely, funny enough, we were talking recently, and he actually reminded me of that. He's like, you've done like all these shows, you know what I mean? You have actually been doing things. It's just, you know yourself. It's like I was writing, but I couldn't write, and then I was just doing this, and it just felt like a stop-start motion. And I think, for me, I think like yourself, we're as creatives, we're so used to when, like, before 2020 hit, we were so used to running at 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
At all different types of content.
And then, when you stick the brakes at 100 miles an hour, you slap your face off the windshield, man.
That's what it felt like, regardless of doing content or not. That's what it felt like, and I think that's what it was. But yeah, I mean, like we're coming close to the end of the interview now. So, like, is there anything that you want to say or plug or throw out there before we wrap this one up?
Like a couple of little bits. I was almost going to give up on filmmaking again last year because 2020 was such a shit show. It's just my new thing now, is like talking about giving up on filmmaking and then coming back around to it. And then a mutual friend of ours, Mikey Casey, came to me with a script. I absolutely fell in love with it, and I was like, look, anything I can do to help get this made, I don't care if it's produce it, whatever. And he asked me to come on board and co-direct it, which I'm so grateful for the opportunity of, because I love the script so much, which I'm not trying to be a dick when I say this, but it's rare when that happens for me. Like, as in when I read a script and read, like, that someone, I'm very much that person that I like making my stuff. But when I read a script like Coppa or this, I get like, oh my God, I get more excited than I do about my own movies. And yeah, so that's Lulu and the Electric Dreamboat. And we have an Instagram page that Mikey's running, so people can check out Lulu and the Electric Dreamboat on there. We've released one clip so far, which I personally love. I think it captures, if you're an emo, or if you ever grew up as an emo or goth or anything like that, this movie's going to resonate hard. And that's why I've grown the emo hair back, because I'm making this movie.
And something, I think it's a very important question we ask before we do get to the end of this interview, man. How long is that hair now?
It's funny. It's quite long. I have it shaved it's undercut, like, but like I can cousin it this shit. You know what I mean?
That's an exclusive right there, fans. You know, peeps, that's
Look at that, I can swish it like it's the longest my hair has ever been, I can tell you that much.
I can see
Ever.
the thickness has come back in it, man.
Yeah, it has big time. And like I'm growing it up, man. I'm planning on going full Shinsuke Nakamura with this shit. That's my intention.
It's gone that direction, man. It's all down.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is falling to the side here, but it stops right here. Yours is like down past the ear and everything.
Mine's, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
You gotta get yourself
And
some
then
red
it's
pants
now it's now part of my branding, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
So you cannot shave it now. You can't cut it.
Cathy shaved my beard today, and I was like, "You wrecked my branding."
Oh my god!
But
give us a look.
It looks all right. Look, it kind of looks like a goatee. We're fine.
It's fine.
But yeah, we've got Lulu and the Electric Dreamboat, which we shot the little teaser for. But I cannot wait until we can find out when we're able to go make the rest of this movie, because we've loads of the pieces in place for it. So on a filmmaking side, that's what's really going on. The Parish is available if you're in the US. It's available on Amazon. It's not available over here yet because nobody wants to buy a sad movie about abortion, apparently. I don't know what's wrong with people these days. But yeah, and then the Three Don'ts is on Amazon as well. And then for me, I'm on YouTube and Twitch at Let's Survive Paddy Plays. And I stream 5 days a week, and I release videos. I release an interview every second week, and then I don't have a specific content schedule. I just fire out stuff when it gets done.
See, I'm going to every time I point this way, it seems to go this way. So I'm just going to point forward.
Oh, there we go.
This man is used to the format because I didn't even have to ask him where to find himself. He already knew.
I've done a few interviews, lad, but usually I'm on your side.
You were doing a fantastic job, so don't be modest. You're killing it at the moment, so keep slaying the dragon, if you will, and let's survive together on the mug. But I'm going to get to it, right? Because we have had. I've really enjoyed this interview. Look, we're great mates. We've known each other a long time.
100%.
I know the majority of your story, but it's great to hear it, like, in a conversation-based thing. But sad to see that we have to, call a pause on it. But like, what it is, I want to ask you something. I don't think we covered everything we could cover here.
Oh yeah.
So would you be up for coming back on for another round of conversation with the old Tubs?
Absolutely. Serious?
Deadly.
Man,
Deadly.
I can never have enough Tubs.
That's fucking what I want to hear, my friend. And on that note, this is the Twistedtubz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Tuberty, aka Twistedtubz. He is Paddy Murphy, aka Paddy Plays. And you know what, folks? We did survive together.
We did it.
We did it. Yes, we did. Oh, we're going to fall backwards. Oh, no.
Magnificent.